One.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Lads TV for another night of fantastic action here for the Thunder series with the ANZCAR Xfinity cars. I am joined by Mr. Peter Wilco Wilkinson. How are you going, Wilco?
I am absolutely amazing. I'm just doing volumes on the fly. It's really good fun. But yeah, welcome. Thank you for having me again. We're here. We're about to go to Las Vegas for the Thunder series. It's all good. I do want to quickly shout out a couple of things at the top of the broadcast. Just remember, Locked On Lads TV is bringing you this. We're on Locked On Lads on Facebook, Locked On Lads on Twitch, Locked On Lads YT on YouTube. Go check us out. All the follows and all the other things we can get would be absolutely massively appreciated at the moment. And a quick shout out to everyone affected by the floods. I personally was driving through Gympie today, which was massively affected. Biggest ever floods they've had, or one of the biggest ever they've had. Just seeing the devastation up there was pretty crazy. But shout out to anyone who's affected, and hopefully the next lot of rain that's coming through won't be anywhere near as bad. But yeah, look, shout out to all those people who are in trouble, and stay safe, everyone. But Carl, quickly, I've done a little bit of a tribute to you on the podcast as well, which goes live tomorrow night. So check out all your podcast feeds for Locked On iRacing. And look, you're going through some stuff, and thank you so much for being such an absolute legend. But run us through, where are we tonight? What's going on, mate?
Well, we are here in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the third round of the Xfinity action for the Thunder series. We have had a fantastic season so far, which has seen Mitch Motorsport basically dominating the start of the season, with Gallagher taking a win, as well as Josh Micklemore, of course. We championship-wise, we currently got Gallagher in the lead, reigning champion, 14 points ahead of Ruben Phelps in second, Michael Skurlock in third, Urquio in fourth, fifth for Micklemore himself, that man that took the win last time out. Patton comes home in sixth at the moment. Norman Clark seventh, eighth for Marshall, Spencer in ninth, and Jaden Russell in 10th at the moment as we stand in the championship. So Las Vegas, very, very fast track, of course. It's going to be one of those tracks where it is going to be easy for a mistake to happen. Obviously, getting things right is going to be a crucial part of this race. So we've got the cars going out now for qualifying, getting ready to do those laps, getting ready to see who's going to start on pole position tonight for 100 laps around this 2.5-mile circuit.
And look, do you want to? We've got Dave Douglas on screen here at the moment. He's flying out for his first one. Let's take a ride on board with him. I always like listening to you. And I know the first lap's going to be a bit of a nothing lap. Just quickly, in the Xfinity cars, I've been practicing in the Cup Series cars, and you don't use the brake at all. Vegas is just throttle management, from my understanding, Carl.
In the Xfinity cars, it's going to be a bit of throttle management. You might have a little dab of the brake just in the front, just as you get into the corner, just to help dip the nose down a little bit. So as we're riding on board with Dave here, we're going into turns 3 and 4 here. And 3 and 4 are probably the most perilous corners. So just easing off, you can just hear that car just lifting off the throttle. Got to be a bit careful. There's a bit of a bump on that inside section there. Very easy to unsettle the car. Cutting down across the line here to take the shortest line possible. Dave jumps up into... where is Dave at the moment? In ninth at the moment. Now it's going to be the fast lap. So keeping a slightly lower section through for turns 1 and 2. Almost on throttle all the way through the corner. Just a little lift on the entry. Turns 3 and 4 is where you're going to want to lift a little bit in this section here. So just that little blip here. Just working on the throttle just to keep the car balanced. Making sure the rear doesn't step out on you. That's the crucial part right now, is making sure the rear doesn't step out. Cuts down across the grass. Does he get a penalty for that one? I think so, unfortunately for David. I think that lap did not count because he cut the grass a little bit. So tried to take a little bit too much grass there, trying to be a bit greedy across the sort of tri-oval section there.
So what do you expect from tonight, Carl? We've got a fairly, we've got the 150-mile race tonight. We're looking at around about from what the chat before the show is, you can get 60 laps on a tank. It's the 45 laps on the fuel, which is the 45 laps on the tyres. Tyres are a big issue on Vegas because you are pushing these cars pretty hard. What do you expect out tonight? We're going to see some carnage, or are we just going to see some nice, clever, smart racing? Are we going to see a fuel race? What do you reckon?
Well, we had the truck race here on Monday night, and that ended up being a fuel race. It's going to depend when the cautions fall. I think that's going to be a big part of it tonight, is if a caution falls with around about 40 laps to go, we might well see this turning into a bit of a fuel race. That could be those are things that can always happen in a race like this. Obviously, tyre wear is crucial, as Jones out there, I think. It's fuel probably, if you're following a car, you can just use a little bit less fuel. Obviously, lifting through the corners as the tyre wear gets worse and worse through the race, you're going to lift off more as well. So that's going to help you with the fuel saving. It's just going to be a thing of getting the car home. And from what we saw in the trucks, we didn't have too much carnage. So hopefully tonight we'll just see some good racing. You can take it side by side here. You can take it too wide. It is a little bit perilous sometimes. Tristan Koch there with a very nice lap up to P6. It is a little bit perilous running on the low line sometimes in the latter stages of a stint. Early in the stint, not too bad. At latter stages, you do tend to scrub up a little bit. The car runs up the track a little bit, and you can have a little bit of an accident that way. But in those sort of early ages, we'll probably see sort of two by two racing for a little bit, and then they'll probably fall into a single line for some time. And yeah, I'm expecting a good race in all honesty, Wilco. I think we're going to see some good racing tonight, and I think if we don't see any cautions, I think we will see one of those races where it's going to be anybody's race at the front. You're going to want to be sort of sitting there or thereabouts, and just getting everything right, getting that pit stop right. If we have green flag stops, is going to be very crucial for people here. 7 seconds left of qualifying. Very close to the end there for whoever that is out on track. Can't see who that is.
Inlay
does not make it across the line as we cut off, of course. Position. Single car qualifying, and it is done by the time. So as soon as that time runs out, it is very much the end of the session. Okay. So let's go
I'm going to quickly let's calm it down. We're going to get into the start. We're going to transition away from the webcams. Everyone is loving your tie, by the way, and telling me to get better, which is fair call. Honestly, it's a massively fair call. We were not going to be doing a webcam until just before we started. So let us go to the field. We've got Dylan O'Shea on screen at the moment, but Skirley's taken the top position. So let me quickly get this set up for the grid. And I know the grid's not working the best, but we are working on something in the background to get all that started. Let's see how we go. Yeah, don't choke on me.
No, choking on a sip of tea there. Okay, let's go through the starting order. So the first line of the grid is Skurlock and Trehair taking up rows 1 on the grid. Second row, we have Urquio and Turner. Third row is Schultz and Koch. Fourth row, we have Wellman and O'Shea. Dylan O'Shea having another good run tonight.
And Cade Donnelly in on row 5 alongside Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones, there we go, back again. Row 5's a long way back for him. Jaden Russell and who was that? That was Kobe Jordan on row 6. Joshua Carroll Walden and James Glasspool on row 7. Raymond Yeager and Josh Micklemore on row 8. Adam Malone and Christopher Finlay on row 9. And rounding out 10 is Troy Davison and Hamish Gallagher.
Row 11, we've got Phelps and Douglas. On the 12th row is Williams and Nankervis. Fahey and Clark on the 13th. 14th is Spencer and Georgeson. 15th, we have Lobb and Tompkins. 16th is Patton and Mr. Matt Hunter. Nixon Hoppett on the 16th row, I think. 17th is 17th. 18th is Tice and Knight. Then we have Jonas Sitter, newcomer to the series, Maddie Raymond, Fenley, Wheeler, Marshall, and Brett Campbell rounding out the 42 car field tonight. An absolute glut of vehicles out there tonight. A really strong show, and once again, a lot of cars out on track at the moment, and that could make some difference.
Yeah, definitely is, and it's great to see the Thunder getting such good representation here. 42 strong field is great to see. Although I got 41 on my timing, so I don't know what's going there. Maybe I'll drag it up a little bit. Very good. So Skurlock at the front, he is a master at manipulating that throttle and that brake. He can sort of do it from anywhere. Gets the speed out of the car where people just can't usually get it out. Trehair at the front, Urquio at the front. Top 3 is definitely stacked as we go into lap before, or just about green flag racing. What's your pick, Carl?
I'm going actually. I'm going to go for Turner. I think Kai Turner is due for a good result tonight as we get ready to go green here at Las Vegas here on Locked On Lads TV for the Thunder. Good start for Mr. Michael Skurlock. They are 2-2 as they come across the line. Skurlock going up towards the high line. What are you thinking tonight, Peter? Who are you going for your pick?
Oh, look, I'm a big Skirley fan. I know Ed isn't at the moment, but I'm a big Skirley fan as far as he can. He really does know how to get the traction out of those tyres where most people can't. So I'm interested to see how he goes, especially if it's green flag racing all the way. I think he'll be hard to beat. It'll just come down to his strategy if it's not green flag racing. You'd already see he's getting a nice little gap there on the field. But Luke Trahair sitting there comfortably in second, just leading the pack to hopefully chase him down as we go along.
Yeah. Keep an eye out just behind him for Urquio, of course, the ARCA champion last year in the ANZCAR series. One of those drivers that is due for one of the big wins, of course, in the Cup, Xfinity or Trucks, and he has been sitting there or thereabouts in that dog box racing sim sports entry for a while. So he could be one of those drivers that sneaks in there tonight. Watch out for Luke as well. We know Luke is very good at keeping his tyres alive, and that could be key for tonight. Skirley absolutely running away like a scalded dog at the moment, getting a good lead over the field, but is he going a bit too fast, a bit too quick, possibly damaging that front right tyre a little bit too much in the early stages? Could hurt him latterly in this race.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who doesn't leave anything on the table, so he will hit a wall at some stage. He will flat spot a tyre at some stage, just hopefully it's not too big a problem for him. But yeah, definitely it's slightly coming back to the field now, but there's definitely some stuff going on in the mid-pack there. We've got Phelps and Micklemore coming through the field there, and Hamish as well with them. Hamish obviously putting a lot of effort into the Thunder Series this year.
Just quickly, Stevie Dub just having a big moment through turn number 1, just getting up into the fence, just saves it, but that was almost a big moment. I don't think he actually got any damage on the car, but that was very close for him, and that's something you got to watch out for here at Vegas. Is if you get caught up really high, it is very easy for that car to just get sucked up to that wall, and then all of a sudden you make a little clank up to it, and that is going to hurt you for the rest of the night. He's hitting the wall
there as well, out of the exit there as well, exit of 2. So he's definitely pushing that high line as much as he can. Probably a little bit too much, going a little bit too hot, but still I can't see any damage on that car, but he's definitely running very close to the wall there, which is fast but also dangerous.
One of the good things about running that really high line is that it puts a little bit less pressure on the tyre. So he's just trying to keep those tyres alive a little bit more. But you'll see people using multitude of different lines at the moment. You'll have the drivers on the low line, drivers on the high line, and then the sort of mid line. And that mid line is sort of your sort of safety line. The high line is going to be saving a little bit more tyre, used up a little bit more fuel, of course, because you're taking a slightly longer route, not by much, but it does make a bit of a difference. And then, of course, the short line, the low line, is going to chew up the tyres quicker. It's going to be the slightly faster line, but it is going to affect your speed later in the race, so you end up overheating those tyres a little bit. Don't think we went through the temperatures. It is currently 33 degrees on the track at the moment, so it is a little bit warm on the track. Not too much air temperature at the moment, which is a good thing, because it can get a little bit hot here in Nevada, and that can cause overheating issues. So that's probably not going to be too much of an issue. But we've got a good battle for P number 3 at the moment between Aidan Schultz and Lachlan Urquio side by side. At the moment, as Lachlan Urquio hits the wall, almost gets taken out by Kai Turner. Turner doing a great job of avoiding that incident, just on the brakes at the exact right time. Nasty bit of damage to the right front of the dog box sim sports entry 42 there of Lachlan Urquio.
Yeah, and you can see how far back he's already fallen from the field. We were watching Raymond Yeagers before. They're using the high line pretty effectively to get around Glasspool, but it seems to be that the low line up the front here is a much more preferred options for these drivers up front. Aidan Schultz putting his nose down the inside here, going to make Lachlan stay high here, and will he make it stick? You do get a better run out. Oh, they've touched, and Lachlan's into the wall.
Big impact for Urquio. He's trying to save it.
In a lot of trouble there.
he somehow saved that from spearing off into the rest of the field. But that was...
Oh, and Dave Douglas just about clipped him on the way through as well, as he goes basically back to the back of the pack here.
That would have been a huge accident if he had actually spun it.
There it is.
That was Noddy Tompkin, I think.
It's not 50 at all.
Yeah, Noddy Tompkins into
no, it wasn't.
Who was that? Nigel Patton. I got Tompkins and Patton having a big incident there off of turn number 4, yes. I think that was. So Noddy Tompkins just gone up into the wall and down into just Patton just in the wrong place at the wrong time there.
Slightly missed my replay.
So yeah, we'll reverse time a little bit here, get an idea. So Patton's just cruising along here, nothing he could do. Tompkins has gone into the wall, and it'd be unseen from Patton's view there because you sort of can't see out that right side of the car, and he's just had a big side swipe. Huge amount of damage to that vehicle, and that is Patton out of the race in the 90.
And we go back on board with Joshua Carroll-Walden. No yellow there, which is quite interesting. But the pack here in the middle, there's some really good fighting here. Obviously, we've got Skurlock way out in front here. He's half a second. It's petering between half a second and 6/10, but there's some really good stuff here. Joshua Carroll-Walden trying to survive and stay in the middle of the pack here. Ryan Jones behind him. You're always trying to survive when you're around Ryan. And Jaeger in the back there goes into the wall as well and is going to lose some positions here. And as he slowly drifts back through the field, which as we saw there with Lachlan, can get very dangerous for the people behind him.
Not a good couple of laps for Pinnacle Esports Racing there. Patton obviously taken out, and Jaeger getting that big smack into the wall. In the truck series, I was actually racing against Ryan towards the final latter stages of the race, and yeah, it's he races hard, that boy. He's one of those drivers that we know races hard, and on an oval it is something else racing next to Ryan Jones. He's got some damage on the front of his car already though. The M&Ms have got a little bit of a split down the middle of the chocolate, so not what you want to have on the track, but it's not affecting him too much at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go back up the front here as we watch Skurlock with his smiley face helmet on. And no My Little Pony livery this week, which is quite disappointing. But
I think he's finally actually got his proper livery on for once, his chin on the rim livery. So I think it's actually Skurlock's proper official livery on his car. So it's been a while since we've seen Skurly with a actual proper livery, rather than a whatever we find on Trading Paints, which usually ends up being My Little Pony, because as we all know, Skurlock is into ponies and one of the biggest bronies there is in all of ANZCAR.
That's it. We just going back to Raymond Jaeger here. Like I said, he's liking this high line. He was using it really effectively before, but he's just not getting it to work now. So I wonder if there's been a bit of damage to either the wheel when he's hit the wall, or maybe some tyres there. But he's sitting there behind Dave Douglas, who also looks like he's got some damage on the rear. No, it just might have been a bad angle from me. No, he looks pretty clean as well. As we get to the 16th lap here, tyres, what do you reckon? There's a drop-off of a couple seconds a lap here at this stage of the race, Carl?
Well, they've dropped they've dropped over a second now. So they were in the fastest sort of early stages. They were doing 30, about mid 30s, so 30.6. They're now in 31.9s, 32s. So that is the drop off there. That is a huge drop off in times, and that's kind of what you expect at Las Vegas. That's kind of the normal sort of drop off. It will get to a point where it plateaus a little bit. But it does invite the undercut to be very powerful here. Obviously, you're going to want to stick out for as long as you can, just in case that caution flag comes out. But if there's no caution, somebody that decides to come in early, and we'll probably see 2 stops tonight, I think, from the field, if it goes green, just because of the tyre situation. But whoever comes in first is going to get a big advantage on those fresh tyres. They're going to get a lot of speed. They're going to be able to get a lot of pace in the early stages, build up a little bit of time. But then, of course, everybody will be coming out on those nice fresh tyres, and that will start cutting them off a little bit. I've just noticed in the care centre we have Mr. Lachlan Urquio in the 42.
Are you able to bring him in?
I am indeed. Lockie, number 42, Dogbox Sim Sports, I should say. Unfortunate moment there as you got in contact with Kai Turner, running up at the front of the field though, but what a fantastic save to not take out the rest of the grid.
Oh, look, I wouldn't say it's a fantastic save when you consider I'm sitting in the pits right now, but look, it sucks. It's a bit gut wrenching, especially with the pace I had and confidence I have around this track. But I certainly don't blame Kai personally. Like, no one goes out there to wreck anyone, but I think he's just come up the track a bit into me, and it just, I don't know if it was netcode or what, but it just picked the front of the car up off the ground and slammed it into the fence real hard. I think it gave me about 15 minutes damage.
Oh, that is a big shame. We saw some really good pace out of you early on there. It's always a sad thing to see a fast car going out. I was going to actually pick you for the race, and I thought better of it, so I didn't put the curse on you, but it appears I didn't need to put the curse on in the first place, unfortunately. Obviously, good pace out there tonight in the Xfinity car. Are you going to be running Cup this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Obviously, if I don't qualify like last week, then I'll probably be sitting there watching on the sidelines, but I do quite like this track. I've always ran well here. Like last year, I ran around the top 5 in the Cup, and I always enjoyed this place, but it's just going to come down to whether or not I've got the 1-lap pace tomorrow night in the new car.
Well, fingers crossed things go well for you, Lockie. A shame we didn't see you out there longer tonight. You looked like you had some really good pace, but as I said, good save to not take out the rest of the field. Unfortunate, though, that the damage you received has taken you out of this race.
Yeah, I think I might be out there about 10 laps down at the end, but just to pick up some points, but yeah, not ideal. Cheers, Carl.
Thanks, Lockie.
Just
big shame there. We saw 3 wide as we got Lachlan up into the booth there as well, Peter. Like that's pretty intense racing this early in the race.
Yeah, and we saw I think it was Micklemore there, just getting a little bit taily towards the end and sort of fell off. But I'm really impressed by Tristan Cock up at the front here. He is a person who actually races around me at the back of the field generally, especially in the Thunder last season. He's up here sitting around well, he's now just dropped down to 6th as Aiden Schultz makes the move, but he's holding off this gaggle of 4 or 5 cars, and if we actually go back a bit further, it's even a lot more than that. Just looking there, and I think it's 019 there. Dylan O'Shea has some damage to the rear there. If we go on board with Ryan Jones, we should be able to see a closer look at that. You can see the back end of his car has taken a fairly large hit there on the left-hand side. Not a huge problem though, something like that, Carl?
It's not ideal, obviously. It's going to hurt a little bit. Just going back to see what actually happened. It's not ideal in all honesty. I think maybe Dylan's had a little bit of blinking issues as well through the race, but I'm just trying to figure out what's actually happened to this rear panel. It's not going to be too effective to him, though. It's not going to be disastrous unless it's damaged a little bit of the rear suspension, which I don't think it would have done.
This battle for 6th through to 12th or 13th, actually. I think Hamish is in there, so 15th, 16th. He's absolutely fascinating, but I really want to go back up the front here quickly because as we talk, Luke Trahere is actually just starting to pull this gap back to the leader again, which is really good to see. So he's really closed it up, or he's halved the gap pretty much in the last couple of laps here. So I assume Skirley's probably used up those tyres a little bit too much. And Luke has looked after it, so it's a really good chance to see that difference and how much that can actually play into the race as we go along. We are at the 26th lap mark, so that's that time where the tyres will starting to be screaming at the driver if they've overused them, and also about halfway to the way where we got told before the race that it's just undrivable. So we may see some green flag stops here if we don't get a caution anytime soon, and just see if that undercut will actually work. What do you reckon, Carl?
I think that undercut's going to be very strong indeed here tonight. I think that damage came from Ryan Jones on around about lap 4 of the race for O'Shea. Possibly a little bit of netcode involved in that one as well. So not a huge moment for him, and it's not affecting the pace too much. But you can see now Skurlock has fallen off, and as I said, watch out for Luke Trahere. We know that Luke is very good at looking after tyres. As who is that in front of Skurlock? Georgian. Luke Georgian has got his engine absolutely gone. Saw a big puff of smoke, and he's had a big moment off turn number 2. Lost the rear of the car, just gone up into the wall and then down into the infield. Almost saves it, but a big impact into the wall, and that has gone for the engine. So that is Georgian out of this race. Just in front of the leaders, so that's not what you want to have happen.
Wow, that is a huge moment. He has hit the inside wall so hard, and luckily, once again, no yellow. Or unluckily for those people at the front, especially Skirly. Skirly's screaming for one right now, but he has just opened up a small gap back again on Trahere. It's fascinating. These guys are going back and forth, but they are definitely gapping Kai Turner here in third. I saw a lot of smoke coming from... There's an infield smoke again.
That might just be Georgeson, just remnants of the car. There's a huge battle going on with Donnelly, with Donnelly, O'Shea, Jones, Glasspool, Wellman. Just a huge gaggle of cars. Donnelly's the sort of cork in the bottle at the moment. As you were saying, Tristan Koch having a good run at the front, and he's dropped back a little bit now. And that's the thing, is you sort of really good qualifying run like that, you sort of drop back a little bit in the field, unfortunately. But he's saving as it stands. So I reckon we're going to see Tristan just saving a little bit, and he'll start working his way back up latter in this race if it remains green.
Yeah,
but
we are on board right now with Josh Micklemore, as he's in the middle of this pack, which is I just want to show you how tight it actually does get.
Yeah, this is side-by-side racing. His teammate is right behind him. Hamish Gallagher, championship leader, is right there, of course. These two are battling for the championships as well. We've got the 2 championships this year for the Thunder Series in the overall championship and the 3 championships for each sort of stage as they go. So there's technically 3 seasons this year for the Xfinity, but the drivers that win it all every time, they're going to end up with an overall championship as well. So that's something that's been introduced this season, and Hamish desperately wants to take that one out. But he's got to beat, well, the first person you want to beat in motorsport is always your teammate, and he's got Josh Micklemore as a teammate, and that is a hard thing to do. But they're currently struggling a little bit down there in that mid-pack, as you say. They're down in, they're outside the top 10 at the moment. They're just sitting behind JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walton, and Atari, who's sitting there in 10th at the moment. And a lot of competition this season. There is a lot of fast drivers up there, and it's great to see. It's great to see somebody like Kai Turner back in ANZCAR a lot more this season as well, because we know that Kai's fast. He's one of those drivers that's got a lot of speed underneath him, as they're just getting past, just coming up to lap one of the SRM cars. I think it might be Noddy.
Yeah, so we are lap 34. We've got Ryan Jones all over the back, but look up front here. Luke Trahere is now right on the back of Michael Skurlock. I think it was a bit premature that his tyres are gone, or maybe Luke's just lasted a couple more laps and now they're sitting pretty even. Just to quickly show you guys, lap they're doing.
Oh, Micklemore has got caught up with Carol Walden, as there was a big checkup of O'Shea. O'Shea is checked up, and then it's gone into... So that's actually started with Dylan O'Shea, I think, in front. So Dylan O'Shea's just checked up on the exit of turn number 4. Kai Donnelly gone into the back of O'Shea, and then JCW obviously nowhere to go. Got caught up in that checkup, and Micklemore is the one that really got caught up in that one. So yeah, Micklemore got really caught up in that one. Yeah. All the way into Joshua Carroll-Walden's car. He effectively ended up in the fuel tank there. A lot of damage to the front of that thing. That's damaged the suspension of Micklemore as well. That's going to be a costly. That's going to be costly for him. For the rest of this race, he's going to be struggling.
But well, yeah, there we go. Here we go. Hamish has gone down on the infield.
And
I went back too far.
Yeah, it's a little bit further along. So, just it's a little bit further along than that, in fact, because O'Shea was ahead of Kay Donnelly.
Let's just go live. I can't find it. That's okay. But yeah, so that's very interesting time of the race to be having that. Obviously, these tyres are not having the best of time. We go back up the front here because Skirley's trying to get past 15, and full 15 goes into the wall just about, or 015 there, and Luke gets alongside Skirlock. So we have got a battle for the lead again.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the point where those drivers that have looked after their tyres a little bit are going to be using them in anger now. Because they're going to be coming into pit lane in the next... Well, they're going to try and hold it out there for another 12 laps or so, though, so they can split the race in half, so they can make it a one-stopper. But you're going to see a couple of people just thinking about coming into pit lane, probably around about lap 46, I'd say, if they're going to try. See if they can actually come in a little bit earlier for that undercut. So lap 46, I think, will be drivers coming in for the undercut. A few drivers are going to come in sort of soon as well, just because they're struggling so much to keep that car on pace. As we've got Traher making a move on Skurlock up at the front, gets down on the inside, the 43 on the 350 right there, takes that inside line and just powers his way through.
He's still got plenty of grip on those sides to get out of there like that, doesn't he? So with Skurlock should have had the better run being the high line, but Luke still got the grip on his sides, which is good to see. But let's see if Skurley pays him back.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful run there. And the Way Down sponsored entry of the Nightcrawler Racing 43 there of Luke Traher, of course, if you're after any MMA action and lots of fisticuffs and things like that. Luke is the guy for that. He is very much into the old mixed martial arts and fighting areas, and he is giving Skurlock a great fight at the moment and pulling away. Kai Turner's managed to get up into P3 after that checkup. He's working his way well through the field at the moment. Jaden Russell having a much better time this week after his computer crashed last time out, causing him to crash out of the race, unfortunately. Aiden Schultz there in 5th position, kind of quietly sitting there at the moment. Started 5th, sitting 5th. Ryan Jones, as always, making lots of noise and making his way through the field, but he's currently sitting in 6th as it stands.
That battle pack has really split up there. I was going back to the blimp and show you that Ryan Jones was right in the middle of it. Hamish Gallagher's actually gone well out of all that. Got himself up into that top 10, sitting in 7th there with all the carnage that happened with Micklemore before. So
yeah, look, that incident with O'Shea really broke that pack up and has caused a lot. Oh, who's that around? I think it's Stevie Dubb. We might have a caution here, and we do indeed. Stevie Williams has got caught by Cade Donnelly into each other there. So, so the 40's just gone down into Stevie Dubb there, and I think his spotter has said clear, and obviously it's not. Stevie Dubb just nowhere to go there, and this has brought the caution out at the. Well, pretty much the just the wrong time for everybody. If this was a couple of laps later, this could have worked out very, very well. But on lap 43, this means they're going to have to go 57 odd laps in this race now to get to the end, and those tyres are going to be very, very worn come the end of this one.
Look in pit lane in a sec, but this is from Kate Donnelly's view. Yeah, just a little bit too soon. So let's go back to live. Let's have a look at pit lane. No one's coming in yet, Carl. Obviously, they've got to catch up.
They got to the pace car, so they're coming in now. Luke Traher coming into pit lane. So in they come. The lapped cars will stay out there. Of course, a few people did just pit. So Brett Campbell, Noddy Tompkin had just stopped. So Brett Campbell actually had just stopped. So he got caught out a little bit in that one. But they are coming into pit lane now. So the battle is on pit road. Who is going to make their marks perfectly? Who is going to get this pit stop perfectly timed and get out in the right position? We might see a few people just short fueling a little bit. They're going to take all 4 tyres, of course, and that's going to take them a little bit of time. So all 4 tyres does take a little bit of time in these cars. You can take a little bit less fuel, I think. So yeah, so they'll pretty much take a full tank of fuel anyway, because they're taking all 4 tyres, so it's not going to be much advantage to take a litre or so less. But
where do
drivers
you sit on strategy right here now, Carl? I'm just looking at the numbers. We're 44, we've got 55, 56 to go, sorry. We're hearing 60 litres to a tank, so fuel should be right now if they filled them up completely. But the tyres, as we know, usually only last about that 45. Do you run a slow race to start with, or do you just expect to do one more stop?
I think we're going to see them trying to keep track position so they don't get run into, and then suffer the consequences later on in the stint. So you might see Skurlock run away a little bit at the start of this race again. We'll see Skurlock possibly just get a good run off the start and then lead away for the first, maybe the first 20 or so laps after the free start, and then you'll have people like Traher and I'd say Jaden Russell as well. Watch out for J Russ here, who's going to be lurking up there. We know Russell is good on the tyres, that road racing experience. Of course, in Synergy, the Synergy team as well, a lot of very, very skilled drivers in that team, and they work together with Mitch Motorsport too. So I expect to see them just lurking their way through the field as it goes on. So keep an eye out for them. I'd say if it was me, I would just be going sort of pretty normal. Maybe not pushing 100%. Try not to get into too many battles where I'm going to be stuck on the inside line. Trying to keep in a position where I can just keep up my pace and keep at a fairly solid race pace, but expecting to have to take it to the end. So we saw a similar thing happen in the trucks on Monday night, and similar situation, in all honesty, of just sort of, thinking, oh, we're probably going to have to pit again. It was a fuel-sensitive race in that one, but ended up keeping it out there and just making it across the line as the truck spluttered to a halt as it ran out of fuel. But it's one of those things, you just sort of keep it out there and see how the race goes. Sort of, it's more so keep it out expecting to see another caution, but keep your options open just in case you do have to go green the whole race through. So you don't want to punish the tyres too much, but obviously you don't want to lose too many positions, too much track position, or get caught up in a silly accident.
Yeah, I agree. As we see those two front runners, Nobby and Brett, getting the call around to join the back of the queue as we go to one lap till green. Very exciting to see this. It's going to be tough to get to the end. They're going to be screaming for another yellow at just the right time. But I think my money currently is sitting here on Luke Traher, because he really did make those tyres last a little bit better than Skurlock. But we'll wait and see. It's a very fascinating race, and as NASCAR always is, especially right now, we're 54 to go till the end of the race. And
exactly.
Who's got the best car? Who's got the least damage? Who's got the best tyres? All that kind of stuff is going to play out right now. Just hopefully yellows don't breed more cautions, Carl. That's what we've got to do. Who do you want to put the mocker on? Who do you want to put the commentator's curse on? I know you're good at that.
Ryan Jones for sure. Ryan Jones, 100% commentator's curse on Ryan Jones.
There you go. Ryan Jones is going to win from here. You've heard it here first from Carl's mouth straight away. What kind of tips do you have for the start? We're coming around. We're on the back. We're at the start here. So what do you reckon? What's in their mind? Luke goes early.
You're just waiting for Traher to go. So Traher's waiting, and he drops it just as we get to the grass there. So obviously in ANZCAR, you can't go before the leader. There's no lane changing before the checkered line. So depends where you are on the field. When you're up at the front, it's all depending. Yeah, Jaden Russell got a really good restart there on that low line. He timed it perfectly. Skurlock got caught a little bit napping on that restart, but look at him come back now. Skurlock has got a really good run now on Russell, gets underneath him and is starting to put pressure on him. And this is exactly what I was talking about in the getting the car to the end of the race right here, is putting the pressure on and starting to race now is going to chew up those tyres. So if I'm Jaden Russell right now, I'm just going to sit behind Traher and try and actually pull a gap on Skurlock. But these are racing drivers, and as we know, racing drivers are not smart. So they just see the front and they go, I want to be in the lead. So they are going to go for it. So we might see Jaden Russell push for that lead of the race.
And I tell you what, there's two drivers here in the top 5 that don't like having cars in front of them. One of them is we're on right now, Ryan Jones. The other one is Michael Skurlock. Lots of things can happen with those two in a top 5 trying to battle to the front. Very interesting to see Hamish Gallagher slowly crept himself up into 6th. He was actually 5th there till Ryan got around him. He's had a very strong race from considering his qualifying position and the pace he had in the middle there. But something's going to happen at the front here. I think we've got another caution coming up very soon.
Yeah, that's it. As always, as always with Hamish, a very swift car and very swift pace. He is always out there, and there's no bad blood between him and any of the other drivers. But he is always charging his way up through the field, trying to get up to the front. And it's the thing of the mark of a champion as well, is he's got a championship on his mind at the moment. So he's not necessarily going out there for race wins, but he wants to get good finishes. Kai Turner just dropping down like a stone at the moment in the MFR car. I think he might have had a bit of a moment through turn number 2. And that just cost him a little bit of time there. He's just falling down. Meanwhile, we've got the battle on between Jones and Skurlock. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Skurlock and Jones, this could be some entertaining stuff right here. These two are going to be battling it out as hard as they can. Tyre wear be damned, they will fight tooth and nail.
Yes, I think this is going to cost both of them the race at some stage. But this is fascinating to watch. Definitely, if anyone, Jones doesn't want Skurlock in front of him as he tries to push around the high line on the exit here of turn 4 and try and get that run into turn 1.
And look at Aiden Schultz as well there, just sneaking his way down on the bottom line. He's underneath Hamish Gallagher, got past Kai Turner's, got a back and getting a good run again. I was going to say, actually, you're talking about Jones and Skurley both being aggressive. Watch out for Kai Turner as well. He's one of those drivers that has got some good aggression in him and will push on in the race.
And now look at Dylan O'Shea pushing into the battle. This is fascinating, top 10 or top 8 at the moment. You'll see if Gary Wellman and Glasspool can catch up to these guys as they're battling, but this is fascinating. As Skurley slowly comes back, which is extremely interesting considering the start he had and the pace he had at the start of the race. He's just falling back into this, and obviously getting into the too wide stuff isn't helping him either.
That's it. Jones almost makes contact with Traher up the front. Jones has worked his way
into the wall too, I think.
Yeah, up at the front. We've got to change for the lead as Ryan Jones takes the lead of the race. He is not caring about those tyres one bit. Jones is going flat out and full charge at the moment as Jaden Russell has got a couple of connectivity issues. Hopefully that is just connectivity and not his computer wanting to commit Harry again and throw itself off a cliff. So hopefully we'll see Jaden Russell make it to the end of the race. Skurlock is absolutely running the very edge of the line. He is right up there to the top of the line, really pushing it at the moment.
Ryan Jones has just pulled 6/10 on the lead as well. Like, he's not slowing down. He's almost at the 7/10 now. He's always said his Achilles heel was he was always fast on one lap, and he's showing it right now, but he knows that will not last forever as he goes out to almost a second there. That is crazy.
Yeah.
This battle here for third, fourth and fifth is extremely interesting right now.
The battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th in this race is the battle for the lead, in all honesty. Ryan Jones is going to fall off the cliff. And if he get a caution, this is going to pay off well for Ryan Jones. If we don't get a caution, Jones is going to suffer later on in this race. He was in the truck race on a Monday as well, and similar attitude for Ryan Jones. He was absolutely flat chat going for it, going for that win, and it cost him towards the end of the race. He ended up falling right down the field. Got a top 20 finish still, but he didn't quite save enough fuel to get that sort of top 10 where he was fighting and where he was really battling. So it is one of those things we know about Ryan Jones, we love about him, is he will absolutely go full for it. He is one of those drivers that does not know the... he wouldn't make a good endurance driver, let's just say that. He's a sprinter.
I'm very fascinated here by Skurlock. He's not being allowed to get up high at all at any part of the race. Now he's going to slot in behind that Kai Turner there, but for the last 3 laps he's been forced out and been stuck low, which is obviously not good for tyres as well. I'm not looking at it in particular, but these guys here battling for the lead, hopefully not battling too much, because that's going to bring someone like Hamish Gallagher just sitting the back of Skurley here, watching it all unfold. The guy who's going for the championship big time, just watching the other cars trip over themselves at this stage. But Luke Traher up front isn't having any problems either. He's staying out of trouble as Jaden Russell goes on the charge to take down Ryan Jones as he gets within 2/10 of him now, as I think Ryan's tyres might be having a problem right now.
Yeah, they'll have gotten very hot in that little stint. I just want to jump back a little bit to 14th position. We've got Conor Nixon new to ANZCAR. Debut tonight, I think, actually, for the series. Nixon up there in the top 15 at the moment, having a really solid run out there, a little bit of damage, just ahead of Jamie Nankervis as well, one of the mainstays of the Weekend Warrior series, and we've seen him often racing here in ANZCAR, having the battle with Norman Clark as well, the Atari driver and veteran of the league. But there's good battles going on throughout the field. But we've got to keep our eyes up at the front, because that's where the main action is, because Jaden Russell has got past Ryan Jones for the lead of this race. We've got 40 laps remaining.
Let's see how quickly Ryan Jones falls back into the rest of them. They're only 3/10 away now from joining back to one big group, as Ryan's just going to sit here behind Jaden Russell and hopefully hang on and scream for a yellow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one shakes out. Because, as I say, I think Luke Trahere is still looking really good at the moment if we don't get a caution. If we get a caution, then it's going to change things up. But if it stays green, he's going to start struggling.
Yeah, definitely is. Skirley's still battling along here pretty well, considering. We go back, Tristan was battling up front here before. We talked about how good he was going. He's just having a bit of a rough time now down in 24th, but 24th in a 42-strong field with this stacked field that we talked about at the start of the race is still a great effort, but sitting here right in the middle of the action down mid-pack and waiting, anything can happen down here, and this is probably where the chaos is going to come from.
Yeah, look, that's one of the things that people get very disenfranchised, very disheartened when they finish in 20th position in a race like this. And it's going to be one of those things for Tristan. He's going to be feeling a little bit disenchanted by the dropping off down into sort of 24th position after that great qualifying effort. But you've got so many strong drivers in this field. He's ahead of people like Matty Ray, Raymond Yeager, Josh Micklemore as well. You know, a lot of winners, multiple winners. Truck Championships champion Stevie Dubb, of course, Lachlan Oakvio, the ARCA Series champion. You know, a lot of drivers that have got many wins in the series. And if you're running in the top 20, if you can actually get a good top 20 finish and, you know, not go down a lap, that is often a good showing, a good strong showing in NASCAR. It's not always about leading and winning the races. Obviously, that is the important bit, and you've got drivers going for that. But when you're just going out there and you are racing in general, sort of top 20 finishes is what you want to aim for. And he's sort of aiming in that spot at the moment and having a good run there, and that's going to be good for his championship as well. Because remember, championships are a long time in this sort of racing. And championship points go all the way down as well. So, you do get some really good point finishes in those positions. And, if you can get a good finish, that is it. Meanwhile, up at the front, we have got 3 wide as Ryan Jones just gets so close to the wall. Hamish Gallagher trying to get his way up there. Aidan Schultz leading this battle pack at the moment. Up into P2 he goes, trying to chase down Jaden Russell, who's got 4 tenths over him as it stands. But I think Ryan Jones is starting to struggle. That thing is turning like an oil tanker as it goes through those corners. Just no front end grip on it at all. You have got better luck just basically hoping that the earth will turn for you instead of the car when you're driving a thing like that at the moment. And this is where just a little dab of the brakes will come in to help you a little bit, just to get that car through the corner.
I'm chuckling to myself because I'm watching Hamish Gallagher. He's gotten past Michael Skurlock here, and he's just sitting on the back of Luke Trahere. Just watch this unfold as we see Ryan Jones get a little bump there from Kai Turner, which is going to slow him right down as he loses a little bit of grip and runs off his line, goes to the back of this pack. And I think if he loses this pack, Dylan O'Shea is all over him as well, as he does come back a little bit on Skurlock there, but he needs to hang on to this pack if he wants to hold track position if anything goes wrong and we do get a yellow. But once again, Hamish Gallagher just doing exactly what he needs to do, putting himself in the right spots, and doing extremely well in this race right now.
That was a beautiful little rub from Kai Turner just on Ryan Jones. That is, there was a little bit of net code in it, unfortunately, which caused a little bit of damage to Ryan, but it was pretty much door-on-door action, which is what you want to have in the good old stock car racing world. Tin Tops is all about door-on-door action. You know, a little bit of contact is absolutely fine. There's no problem in that at all, as long as you don't wreck the other person. That is what we're looking for. And that was just a beautiful little move there. Nice and easy done. Obviously, the only issue is, you know, with netcode, we talk about that a lot in sim racing, and that's just because of the ping of the servers. You know, as things translate, sometimes it causes a little bit more damage, and that's unfortunate side effect of racing online.
Yes, it is, unfortunately. As I watch Skurlock drop back a little bit further there, he's like I mentioned before, he's not getting that high line. He's having to work the low line whenever he can, which is obviously working those
Oh,
tyres more.
Curtis in the wall. We're going to get a caution. He's gone into the 0-2-3 of Troy Davidson, and that is a huge accident there. Will we actually get a caution? It's still green. Gone up into the wall. Huge contact side by side, but they're both on the low line, both off the track. So maybe we won't see the caution flags fly. But that is those two out of the race. That is disastrous. Just a momentary lapse of concentration, just lost that front end. Nankervis struggling with grip there, as they have done 26 laps now on these tyres, and just tags that wall a little bit, bounces himself down into Troy, and unfortunately that is both of them out of this race.
You see him just get the wall there, and that's the end of him, and both of them spin around, and they're passengers at that stage. But I assume they just didn't quite get the loss of control until they just got down on that apron, which is why we are now still green flag racing, much to the dismay of people like Skurlock and Jones right now, who are just pulling off at the back of that group. As Dylan O'Shea's also fallen back a little bit as well, considering he was just trying to get past Skurlock there. As I just go back, mate, I try to watch Darren Fay is dropping back pretty quickly as well. He looks like he's got some scrapes down the side of that car in the 97 white mobile. He's got some damage on the back right hand corner there as well. I assume he's just hit the wall fairly hard coming out of one of those exits as well.
Yeah, look, a tiny bit of damage on a few of those cars. And damage starts to build up at this stage of the race. And, you know, obviously, when you've got damage on the car, it can affect the tyre wear, it can affect the tyre temperatures as well. And that can really cause a little bit of issue in that respect. Glasspool, I think, just having a little bit of contact as well with the with Conor Nixon. Conor Nixon and Glasspool just having a little bit of a moment. The 979 and 686 just having the slightest little bit of almost a moment between those two. They didn't make full contact by the looks of things, but it was very, very close to it. Good driving by both of those. Meanwhile, up the front, Hamish Gallagher is on a bit of a charge now. Hamish is working his way through the field. He's been saving up a little bit, waiting for the end of the race. Look at Luke Traher as well. He's just dropped off a tad. He's not pushing too hard, but he's still working that sort of mid to high line. Just easing that car, and I think Skurlock's doing the same. They're expecting this race to go green, and I think once it gets to around about lap 85, we'll see them working their way back up through the field and trying to get the front of this race.
Yeah, just looking now, their current lap time's 32.5, which is slower than what we did see before the last yellow, which they're doing the 32.2s, 32.1s. So it's, yeah, this is what I was talking about at the end of the caution. Just looking after your tyres for a little bit longer, because if you do have to go right to the end, you're going to need tyres for those last 3 or 4 laps, which is what these guys may just have. So maybe Skurley's doing a little bit more strategy than I give him credit for, sitting back there, which is good to see. But we've got a bit more action. Cade Donnelly's down on the apron here. He's something has happened along here. He's dropping back through the pack. His tyres may just be gone because he's going straight into the pit here as well.
Adam Malone getting swiped by Kobe Jordan, I think it was. Just a big moment there. I think Malone was just lost the car. Oh, Malone's had a big moment up into the wall. He's lost the rear coming out of turn number 2. Fishtailing it all the way down the straight, and then all of a sudden he has sort of saved it, and then himself and Kobe have just got into each other. I'm going to go back and see what happened to Cade Donnelly, because a lot of damage to the front end of that car, and I think it's the same thing of just having a moment in the corner. No, he's made contact.
Adam Malone has gone into the pits as well from that damage, so
Yeah, so it was actually the 20. So there was a huge crash in front of Kate Donnelly on lap 75. Darren Lobb has gone uh, up into the 979 of who is that? That's 979 is
Glasspool, who is rapidly
Glasspool.
falling back through. He's going for
Yeah,
a
he's
stop
got
as
a
well.
lot. He's got a lot of damage on that car. He's in pit lane. He's got a drive-through penalty. So he's got a penalty for that one. So yeah, he's actually gone up, and the 20 of Fenley has been the innocent victim. They're 3 wide going across just past the start-finish line. And the 99's gone up into Glasspool, and Glasspool's had nowhere to go. Donnelly, the same thing. A big impact for all of those drivers, and that's really hurt them.
So much action going on, but still no yellow flag. And these guys at the front are really, really wanting this flag. And I think a lot of these guys who are falling off the back here, it is tyres that are causing this. We are at currently a stint of 30, almost going to the 40 lap mark, which is about as far as you want to go. So we're at 35 lap mark for the tyres. So this is where the caution sort of came last time in the next sort of 5 to 6, 7 laps. So keep an eye out for that as Spurlock and Jones find themselves nose to tail once again, with Dylan O'Shea just sitting back and watching the fireworks go off. Skirley's got a bit of a dint in the back left-hand side of his car too there, which is interesting. Well, that's the same shape as the dint on the front of Jones's car.
Scully's had that.
Is that for a while? Okay.
I think, if I recall right. We'll see how that one goes, but this is where people are going to make mistakes. This is where they're going to struggle, and we are going to see more possible cautions come out, because you're obviously going to be coming up on some lapped cars as well now. There's quite a big gap for Russell. He's got quite a nice big gap up ahead of him, but there will be a few cars possibly coming out on fresh tyres soon, if they decide to pit in. So it's going to be interesting.
Sneaky Hamish Gallagher here. Just sorry to interrupt you there, but he's put himself on the podium position right now. It looks like he's got plenty of speed in those tyres, and just going to sit behind Aiden Schultz, of all people. Return to form for him up the front on a podium position as well. So these guys are now on the chase down for Jaden Russell.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how J. Ross does here, because as Schultz just makes contact with the wall, just the slightest glance, I think the air cushion saved him a little bit there. Keep an eye on Jaden Russell for the remainder of this race. He is very good at controlling a loose car. Extremely good on dirt. So he might be able to just make this one work, as Hamish Gallagher just gets a really good run. You can see that Hamish, Luke and Kai Turner are all coming back into this race. What did I say, Wilco?
Yes,
Lap
you did.
83, 85. Watch out as these guys start to work their way up to the front, and it's exactly happening now. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
It's almost. Look at Ryan Jones. He's falling back off. Dave Douglas is coming up as well, putting himself in the top 10, which is a great spot for him. He's definitely one of the more talented people out there, and just sitting behind Ryan Jones, you can say that's a free position right there. Putting himself basically in 8th here. Although
into the wall.
I've given him the curse and he's hit the wall, but seems to have held it pretty well.
Yeah, he got saved there. The air cushion just bounced him off there. Not too much damage on the front of the number 10, the casting couch entry of Mr. Double D, Dave Douglas. But that just slowed his momentum down a little bit. O'Shea is starting to struggle now, yes, as well as Jones. And O'Shea's going to be one of those just to watch out for, being a rookie in the series. It's Kai Turner and Luke Trahair make a little bit of contact mid-corner. Luke Trahair doing a beautiful pass, very aggressive by the 43 there, putting that mixed martial arts experience into action, just giving Kai Turner a little uppercut as he gets through there. Glancing blow, beautiful move there. Just unsettles Kai. Kai, great car control to keep that one going straight, but that's given him the opportunity to get a nice clean run. Meanwhile, Hamish Gallagher has got a run on Schultz. He's got the outside at the moment. Hamish making the run. He's going to go up to the outside, now down the inside. Hamish is going to get a good run off the straight here. Going to get the inside line for turn number 3 and 4 He's just got to control it through here. Schultz just lifts off a little bit to let Hamish go past. Schultz has domed that perfectly to get the up and under as Hamish washes up the track a little bit as he goes through there, which is exactly what will happen because those front tyres aren't as grippy. Side by side here, so close to each other there. There is a cigarette paper between those two cars, and even that would be struggling to fit there. But Hamish Gallagher has made the move, and Luke Traher is following him through. Schultz falling back a bit.
Yes, Luke Traher just waiting there, just taking advantage of what's going on, and just pushes himself back onto the podium position as him and Hamish now chase down Jaden. As we are now 42 laps since the caution, these guys are running on tyres that will be screaming, will be very hard to control, especially if they do get loose, as Kai Turner gets right back on the tail there of Luke Traher. These three have got some pace, but Jaden Russell out front on his own, not fighting for anything, is now put it out to a full second gap. We need a caution here for this to get interesting for first, but second, third and fourth, this podium battle is right on.
You say we need a caution. I don't think we do. I think Luke Traher is going to answer this. If he can actually get past Hamish and start running, if Hamish and Luke actually start running together and not fighting, they will catch up to Jaden quite quickly, I think. So it could still very much on. They've got 11 laps to do it, but they need to stop battling because the more they battle, it's just costing them, and it's giving Kai Turner the chance to get back up there. And I'm pretty sure Kai's going to be sitting there going, I've got a receipt for you, Luke. So Luke is going to be looking in his mirrors going, maybe I shouldn't have done that little door bash to Kai, because Kai is now coming up on me quite quickly, and he is going to be, he's not going to be holding back as he gets past here.
Just looking at those times, I did mention Luke Traher was doing a 32.5 before when we talked. He was about holding his tyres and looking after them to the end. He's now doing 32.4s. So he's definitely going quicker than what he was about 10 laps ago, which is quite a good feat to have. But they are lapping the same pace as Jaden Russell right now as he holds a 1 second lead over these two. But from there, we've got Skurlock and Schultz are now battling it out a bit further back as Skurley seems to slowly come back towards the top of the field as well.
Yeah, just watching it, it's about Hamish has got about a tenth on J. Russ at the moment, so he's about a tenth of a second quicker each lap. We've got 9 laps remaining. He's within 7 tenths of Jaden Russell. So if he can actually not have to fight Luke Traher, he can still catch up here. So there is still that possibility of that race going on. But J. Russ is just sitting there at the moment, looking in his mirrors, seeing Luke Traher get back up onto the tail of the number 13 of Hamish Gallagher going, oh, this is very useful. I am not going to be too upset if you boys are fighting it out because I don't really have the pace at the moment to do much more. I'm just going to sit here and hope that you two battle it out because, yeah, he is losing time. But those two fighting is helping him out immensely as Luke Traher gets a really nice run on Hamish Gallagher here. Across the checkered line he goes. Luke Traher getting a nice run on the inside of the 13. Goes up a little bit to force Hamish to take the high line, get on those marbles, lose some momentum, and you can see there Hamish cutting down to try and get a good run off the corner. He's going to try and get underneath Luke here. Will he have enough momentum to do it? Not quite. Does not have the speed to do it. Luke Traher positioning that car beautifully, forcing Hamish to take that high line, get a little bit on those marbles, lose himself a little bit of time there. But that is exactly what Russell would have wanted. That has helped his lead out enormously.
Yeah, definitely has, and he is sitting around those 32.4s, so he's got life in those tyres there, whereas we're 6 to go. Unfortunately, Jaden Russell has put it out to 1.2 second lead now over these two as these two have started fighting. I think, unless there's a mistake, he's got it. I'm calling it now. On your Carl, it's happening. I've made the call, so we'll see if I can curse anyone with my commentator's curse only early on. I just want to jump back here in the field just quickly before we go to these final 5 laps. Randy Raymond, as he always does, coming through the field extremely well, just looking after those tyres, staying out of trouble. He's right on the back now of Joshua Carroll-Walden. Or not quite on the back of him yet, but he's the next target he's got, and he's moving up the field extremely well. But let's go back. Ryan Schultz and Aiden Jones as well. Aiden Jones and Ryan... No, it's Ryan Jones and Aiden Schultz. So I've had a shocker. Still battling it out here to stay in the 7th and 8th position here. We talked about Ryan. He's actually holding on a lot better than I thought. So shout out to him. Well done. With 5 to go as the guys cross the line at the front. And Luke Traher has pulled out a gap on one Hamish Gallagher. But still not fighting into that Jaden Russell lead at the moment.
No, it's unfortunately that battle cost us a lead for the battle, I think. So that's pretty much set at the moment for the top 3. It's behind that's going to get interesting. Josh Mickelmore going down a lap, unfortunately, getting caught up in that early incident between Joshua Carroll, Kai Turner, and Dylan O'Shea. I think it was off the top of my head. Meanwhile, Skurlock's putting on a bit of a charge now. So Skurley sat back. He's just been keeping it back there in reserve. Keeping those tyres slightly cool, waiting for a run to the end here. The other thing, of course, is tyre temperature. And that's one of the big factors, of course, is tyre temperature. If you can let those tyres cool down a little bit, not easy to do when you're travelling around over 300 kilometers per hour in the hot Nevada sun. But if you can let those tyres cool down a little bit, you can get a good run at the end. And I think that's what Skurlock's doing at the moment. Norman Clark having a good run as well. 15 positions gained up in P11. Gary Wellman, the car in 10th position at the moment. Just looking through the field at other big movers. Conor Nixon, as we said, having a great run up in 16th at the moment. 17 positions gained. Brad Fenley as well. 19 positions in this race too. Maxi Marshall, 16 positions. So some good moves throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see as we go to 3 laps to go. We are on for the podium, I think, as oh no, Hamish has pretty much sorted this out. It's that 4th, 5th position that we are, as I just took Matty Raymond, as oh no, Joshua Carroll Walden's falling back. He's going into the pits this late stage of the race. He may be out of fuel.
I wonder if he's blown a tyre.
Well, that could be it too, as he does completely miss his pit bay. He'll be happy we got that live on the thing as he misses it again. I will.
Yep, I'm sure
he's blown a tyre.
The boss man, Mr. Edward Foster, will be delighted to see that one. But yeah, I think that's it. As we said, we're getting to that stage where those tyres are at the very much their limit, and JCW's been caught out. And we've seen this before. When the tyres first came in, these tyres blowing. But it is the white flag. It is Jaden Russell in the lead. He is coming up to the line. Watch out for Dylan O'Shea as well. He's had an absolute beauty of a charge towards his final stages of this race. But it is Jaden Russell coming across to take the win for this race at Las Vegas. A great run for J. Russ. He timed that perfectly. Luke Traher started second, finished second. A good run at the end. Hamish Gallagher making from 20th to 3rd. That is all about champion greatness there. Dylan O'Shea, the rookie sensation for DPR, having another great run. P4. Kai Turner, P5 in the end. Michael Skurlock 6th. 7th for Mr. Ryan Jones. A good run there at the end. Managed to keep the car within the top 10. Dave Douglas in 8th. 9th for Gary Wellman. And 10th for Aiden Schultz, who dropped down the field. I'm just going to have a look to see what actually happened to Aiden, because he plummeted down the order. He had a big moment coming out. So it looks like Schultz's tyres just went towards the end of that race, and he just started plummeting down. So sad for Aiden Schultz, but great for Jaden Russell taking victory after cruelly losing out due to a computer failing on him. He well deserving of this victory.
Yes, definitely. It was a great race. Timed everything to perfection. Really had the speed, especially to the end. He was doing a 32.3 at the end, which is basically one of the fastest laps of the race there on oldest tyres possible. It was a shame to see a few of those guys drop away, but really good effort from the likes of Dave Douglas, Gary Wellman, and Matty Raymond there. Norman Clark as well, all sitting around that top 10 mark. Raymond Yeager coming back, considering he had some issues there, had some pace at the start, then drifted back, came back to it. Very well done. Tristan Koch can count himself successful tonight with a 21st out of 42. No matter where he started, doesn't matter. That was a great finish when you're beating home the likes of James Glasspool and Lachlan Urquio, who had some trouble at the start. And yeah, it's definitely a good result for him. So, what do you reckon, Carl? Good
We
race.
saw a fantastic race there. As I said, we were a little bit concerned that we might see a few cautions, and we were very lucky not to get more cautions than we got. There were a couple of moments where we thought the yellow probably would come out and didn't, but that was absolutely fantastic racing there. We saw the strategies paying off, people working it to perfection at the end, and Jaden Russell just really showing that he is coming on form, especially on ovals. J. Russ is one of those drivers that is really working his way up the ANZCAR League.
Yes, definitely is. We have got people flying into the green room now. I'm going to try and do things. Let's see if this works. I'm going to press a button and magic is going to happen on my end. And it might just work, but
let's see if everything works as we hope it does, which is always the words you want to hear mid-broadcast.
There we go. So you've got us live. I'm not dressed up. I know. I see the comments. I will do a better effort next time. I apologize.
Not good enough, Wilco. Not good enough.
But who are we getting up first? Are we starting with the front? Have we got the leader, the winner? Yes.
So we will grab down third place man, Mr. Hamish Gallagher first. So bring in Mr. Gallagher down to the broadcast booth. Welcome to the Locked On Lads TV broadcast booth, Mr. Hamish Gallagher.
Hey, Carly, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, all right. It was a bit of a frustrating race, but we got a result, so not too bad.
Well, yeah, you only made up 17 positions in that race, Hamish. I mean, not good enough, mate. Not good enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, qualifying didn't go how you wanted it to go.
No, went out and stupidly put it straight in the wall, which is knew it was going to be a tough night after that. So, boy, because the setup was she was bad. She was plowing tight, so didn't matter if you had better tires. You just couldn't do anything with them because people just cruising around, blocking the lanes and stuff. So it was hard, and it was a lot of pretty dumb racing. TBH in the midfield there, people just like go real hard for the first 10 laps, and then they block when the tires wear off, and you're sort of stuck there, and you can't do anything. So, and unfortunately, Josh got caught up in it, but luckily me and Jaden, we survived. So we're able to get back to the front.
Yeah, I was going to mention that incident actually between I think it was Glassball, Shea, Turner, and then of course JCW got caught up in that one, and of course we saw Mickle unfortunately cop the brunt of that one. You just managed to skate through there unscathed yourself. I mean, there was quite a few little dicey moments out there for you tonight as well. You sort of just had to work your way cautiously through the field. I mean, tonight, was it more of a looking for championship points rather than the win? Or was it sort of just seeing, obviously trying to go out there and get that victory again?
No, you're absolutely the former, mate. I was just letting people go because I could see people were driving way too hard, and I didn't want to get caught up in a big wreck or anything like that. You just let them go, let them burn their stuff off, and then try and pick them back off later. Well, that wouldn't have worked if we had heaps of cautions and just keep coming down and getting new tires. But luckily we had lots of green flag racing, so it came round in our favour. So.
It paid off in the end, and as you say, those cautions didn't come out, which really gave us a grandstand finish there at the end for some of the areas. I mean, it's a little bit of a gap between the top three there, but look, another podium finish for you, another top three finish. You've not been out of this booth all season in the Thunder yet. It's going quite well.
Hey, but long may it continue, huh?
That's it. You've gone first, second, and third. Now you need to go back to second and back to first. Just keep going through those orders.
I don't like that trend line, Carl. It's going in the wrong direction.
Exactly. You need to start going up. But hopefully that will start going in the right direction soon, Hamish. As always, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Yeah, first shout out to Lukey. He did a really good job tonight. That was a good little fun battle at the end there. By the time I got past Schultz, I burnt my tyres off and he could just pick me off. But yeah, no, it was a good race for him. Just all the usuals for Mad As Designs, Affinity Construction Australia, ANZCAR, Locked On Lads. Who else do I need to say for that? Brewster Coffee. Am I missing anyone there, Wilco? Or what?
Nah, mate, just thank whoever you want. I don't really care. It's all good. I thank them all enough.
Main one though for you, Carl. Obviously had a tough couple of weeks, mate. You've been a true pro, so I wanted to do a little something for you. I've got your dad's name on the car above the door tonight, so it's not much, but I just want to have a little mark of respect. So
Oh,
Glad to get her up on the top 3 here for you tonight, mate. Yeah, hope you're doing as well as you can be, and hopefully get to talk again soon to you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Hamish. And yeah, thank you very much for popping the little name on the car as well. That means an awful lot for me. So thank you very, very much for that. I'm glad we could get you in the top 3 as well.
No problem, mate. You're a champion.
We will see you again soon. Thank you so much, Hamish Gallagher, Mitch Motorsport. Next up, we will grab down the second place finisher, the number 43 for Nightcrawler Racing and the Way Down podcast, Mr. Luke Trahare. Luke, welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey, Carman, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Always a pleasure to get to chat to you, of course, especially when you've had such a fantastic race. I mean, obviously, I imagine you'd have probably wanted to get one better out of this one, but that was a brilliant race through the field. Obviously, you had a fantastic battle between yourself and Hamish there at the end, but did that cost you possibly the win tonight, you think?
I'll be honest, what cost me the win is I thought I was winning with 2 laps to go. I forgot, I was just saying to the guys in the green room before that I forgot where Jaden was. We started catching up to Schultze there at one point because he was in P2 or P3, and I thought that was Jaden coming back to me. And I got past Schultze, and I'm like, oh, that's Schultze, not Jaden. And I just sort of forgot all about Jaden. I was battling with Hamish, and I managed to get past Hamish, and I just wasn't looking up the track, and I thought that was me and Hamish for P1 and 2. And then I think my crew chief said with like a lap left, he's like, come on, you can win this. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm winning. And then I looked at the relative and I'm like, oh no, Jaden's like way up the road. I just sort of forgot about it. So, but I did burn off the tyres a fair bit battling Hamish. He knows how to put his car on the track and keep ahead. So I did scrub for a fair bit trying to get past him, but it was a good battle, good fun.
We saw a beautiful little move with yourself on Kai Turner towards the end of that race as well. Just that lovely little tap there as well. Some really good close racing out there tonight, though.
It was good close racing, and yeah, I did touch Kai. I wasn't intending on touching him because I'm just so cognizant of, you know, sometimes when you touch these cars, you can just you can spin, and if you get, you know, if you scrub up and get too close to those walls and touch him, you can end both your nights. So I definitely wasn't trying to touch him. I was definitely trying to make the move, and my tyres are sort of slipping a little bit. There's the bumps that sort of come out of turn 4 that make you hop a little bit too, and same in turn 2. So, but yeah, luckily enough, it wasn't anything that was fatal. But yeah, I mean, a few guys were touching each other all night. Probably a better way to phrase that. My apologies, but it was yeah, I mean, one yellow flag. It went pretty much green the whole time. So while there was a bit of contact, it was good racing. I think everyone had a lot of fun.
Now, look, we saw some brilliant little bump and runs and just that little bit of contact, which is, you know, absolutely fine in oval racing. I mean, that's what we have in saloon car racing. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, of course. You seem to be just saving those tyres through the race. Did you have, obviously, that first stint, you timed it to perfection. It just, how tricky was it towards the end of those stages for you?
It was certainly a little bit tricky with probably about 10 laps left. The car really started to plow, especially after I made a couple of those moves and the tyres got really hot. And, you know, really had to sort of stamp on the throttle a bit to get the car to turn. So it was pretty tricky. I was saying to the other Bandit boys in the chat that, yeah, we're comparing sort of the tyre wear, and my tyre wear was sort of stuff all. And I supposed to admit it out loud that it's just because I drive like a bit of a grandma sometimes, like trying to oversave him. So, you know, that's sort of to my detriment a lot of the time because the field just ends up running a train on me and I fall back and, you know, you often get a lot of yellow, so I end up sort of missing out. I think the goal tonight was to go a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, and, you know, I still managed to hold onto the tyres sort of pretty well, but it was managed well enough and it reaped the results in the end, so happy all around.
Now, look, congratulations on that run. A really strong performance tonight, and obviously this is always good championship points wise. Obviously, it's not been the easiest start in the Xfinity cars for you, but you're sort of working your way back up through the field. How do you think it's going to be for the rest of the season? Are you going to be very much in the Thunder, or is it more focus on Cup and trucks at the moment?
I think the focus will still be on the Cups and truck, to be honest. I mean, I didn't really run the Xfinity last season. I ran a couple of races. I can't remember how many, but you know, normally I'll sort of try to take the Wednesday night off. You know, usually try to do something a bit more productive, you know, busy with a few of the other things that I do with, you know, my way down stuff and the page and a bit of the other writing I'm doing. So I try to I try not to fill up my every night with racing, that sort of thing. But yeah, I've got a little bit of a gap at the moment. I feel like I'll jump in a few more. I don't think I'll run the whole season. We'll see what happens. If the schedule's clear, I'll jump in. But the trucks and the cup are definitely the focus.
Wonderful job. Look, good race tonight. You gave us some great entertainment. And as usual, Luke, the normal things of love and shout out to those sponsors, of course.
Yeah, so first and foremost, thanks to ANZCAR for putting this on for us. Certainly appreciate it. Obviously, shout out to you, Carl. Thanks for everything you do, man, and calling all our races, every single night. We love what you do, and certainly appreciate you. Shine a light on us. So I'll always be grateful for you for that. And then shout out, obviously, to my stuff. So the Way Down's obviously on the car. That's my MMA page, which is taking a little bit of a back seat at the moment because I'm doing a lot more writing for the premier mixed martial arts organisation in the country, which is Eternal MMA. So many mixed martial arts fans, check out Eternal MMA on the Gold Coast. They're the #1 organisation for combat sports in the country right now, and a lot of the guys that are fighting on that are going to the UFC, a lot of the girls too. So definitely worth checking out there. Obviously, shout out to the Bandits that I run with. Always love running with those guys. And a big special shout out to the Sim Boys tonight as well. Shout out to the Sim Boys.
Congratulations, Luke. You got a little bit punchy on track, ended up working well for your P2. Fantastic job. We hope to see you back in the booth soon.
Appreciate it, Carl, man. Thank you.
And finally, we will grab down our race winner. Try and grab him down as I stuff that up completely as my Discord box is not quite long enough. You're going to see me doing concentrate face now. There we go. We're going to bring down the race winner, the 28, Mr. Jaden Russell. Congratulations on a incredibly well-deserved victory.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good fun tonight. The cars probably didn't race the way I expected them to, but it was still good fun. Lots of close racing in there. It was good.
You looked like you had some pace to spare out there tonight. Obviously, working your way through the field nicely, starting from 11th, working your way up to the victory tonight. You seem to manage those tyres incredibly well as they fell off.
Yeah, tyres were good tonight. I got onto the back of, I forget who it was, for third there. I was just about to pass him before the yellow, and I was gaining on the leaders pretty well with the tyres. I felt good. Was about to start pushing on them just as the yellow came out, so it was unfortunate. I couldn't see how good I was on tyres, but I was pretty happy on the end there. I had plenty of pace to spare, so it was good.
We were talking a little bit about possibly if Luke or Hamish managed to break free, chasing you down there towards the end, possibly taking advantage of you, maybe using up a little bit too much of those tyres early on, but sounds like you still had quite a bit spared there towards the final stage of that race.
Yeah, I was saving pretty heavy because I was worried about fuel. I only just made it on fuel, so I was saving them tyres pretty well, so I wasn't too worried. I've had enough gap, so if they started running, I could take off and get away. It was just, lucky in that sense.
No, really well managed, and fuel can sometimes be the great equaliser in that respect, of course. But it helped keep the tyres alive there for the end, and just keep you alive in that race. We saw you working your way through the field, obviously. How tricky was it for you to work your way up past a few of those cars tonight?
It was very hard to pass in the early stages. You sort of had to be on that high line that everyone wanted to occupy, so it was just kind of wait for a mistake and pick them off one at a time. So it took me a lot longer than I would have hoped to get through, but I got through there and made it to the front in the end, so good result.
No, look, a fantastic job for you, and I always feel like I get it wrong. It's synergy, isn't it, with the team?
Yeah, that's correct. Synergy
Yes.
racing. Yep.
That I thought so. I always have that moment of doubt in my head whenever I'm chatting about you and that team for some reason. But another strong performance for you tonight, of course. And we know that you work with them bitch boys a bit, but you've really been taking it to them. And again, this was a bit of a sort of just showing your strength tonight in this race. Obviously, we saw you had a bit of misfortune last week with the computer deciding to end itself on you, causing an end to your race early and costing us a great finish. But luckily, no such bad luck this week.
Yeah, it was a shame last week. Was in a good spot there. I don't know if I would have held Josh off or not, but it would have been interesting to actually race him. It's a shame, but so far sitting at a second, a DNF and a first in this, so drop that DNF off and we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, look, it's in You were in the top 10 starting out in this race, so this win is going to jump you up there, which is good news. Obviously, going to be competing in the full series season for Thunder.
Currently up in the air. We'll see how the next couple of rounds go, but I've got something else that I sort of committed to that I want to run. So if I'm still looking good in this championship, I'll stick about. But if I start dropping some rounds like I have done in the past, I'll probably have to disappear and do that one, I think. But I'll be sticking around for the other two series.
Well, we hope to see you at least for the remainder of the first half of the Xfinity series. If you can't make it for the full season, but at least for other races as well, because you've been giving us some fantastic results and coming on strength over strength on the ovals as well, which is scary for the rest of those drivers out there. Congratulations on the win tonight, Jade, and the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Yeah, just obviously everyone at Synergy, all their sponsors. Smith & Sons is the major sponsor for this year. Yeah, and everyone else on the car, we appreciate the support.
Congratulations, Jaden. J. Russ, well done again, and I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth soon.
Thanks, mate.
Well, Wilco, another race over and done with. The third race of the Thunder Series. How are you enjoying broadcasting and watching these races from the broadcast perspective?
Look, I'm really enjoying it. I definitely enjoy working with you. That's a big highlight of it, and absolute professional, and that learning so much from you. I think we're getting better each week. I think I controlled the cameras a lot better this week, considering I was also commentating. I definitely don't have the knowledge, and that's something I need to work on. We will get there. The biggest problem at the moment is I'm hearing the thunder roll over, and we've got a warning of a hailstorm coming in as we speak, so I won't hang around too much. But
we know your luck with hail, so
and we just come off obviously the big floods I've just talked about at the start of the thing. But look, I'll thank you everyone who's been tuning in. Thank you everyone in the comments. We got Ed, we've got Ryan Jones jumped in there at the end. We got Jason Fewens jumped in, Riley Curtis. Thank you everyone. Mr. Buttersocks, my mate from another podcast, one of the Locked On Lad originals, in there. Cal, one of the Locked On Lad originals as well. Thank you to everyone who's been in the chat and just supplying those extra little bits of analytics that we need to push it to a little bit further. So just a view here, a like here, a follow here, a sub here, all that kind of stuff absolutely makes a huge difference. So Locked On Lads TV is fresh. It's new. It's coming along really well, I think, so far. And I can't wait to show you these new overlays we've been working on as soon as we get them finalized. There's some good stuff. It's going to look really good. And yeah, some hopefully some more series on the way that we can bring you a little bit more often and do a bit more stuff for you. So thank you everyone who has shown the support, and thank you Carl for giving us the massive amount of knowledge that goes along with it, and just giving us that bit of professionalism that we needed from the start. So, and you are looking smashing on screen, which is the main thing. Everyone's really enjoying that as well, finally getting to see your face along with the call.
We try our best, absolutely. And if you have enjoyed my voice, of course, you can hear it again tomorrow night for the ANZCAR Cup over on Performance eStreaming, and of course on the ANZCAR Facebook page, anzcar.com for the website as well, for all the ANZCAR action, all the brilliant stuff there. And hopefully we'll see you in the race tomorrow night, Wilco. We'll see you driving rather than sitting here and doing the commentary / cameras. But that is it for another week, of course, here with the ANZCAR Xfinity Series, the Thunder Series. While we've got Thunder for the Xfinity cars, hopefully the Thunder won't be too hard for you over there, Wilco, and you won't get too much of the storm coming through.
Yes, that's what a night's thunder at the end of the Thunder Series. Yes, hopefully I'll get to race tomorrow night. I'm really looking forward to getting into the race. I'm not holding out hope, but yeah, hopefully I can get there. And if I can't, I'll be spotting for Timmy Corn, who definitely will get in because he's definitely got the speed, and I can't wait to see his rookie charge this season. So, like I said before, check out Locked On Lads on Facebook, Locked On Lads on Twitch, Locked On Lads YT on YouTube, LockedOnLads.com, which will get an overview sometime soon. If you're not in the Discord, LockedOnLads.com/Discord, all the places that you can support us and help bring Locked On Lads TV and Locked On Racing along very quickly. And all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is Locked On iRacing Podcast comes out tomorrow, hopefully about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be dropping that one live. I'll dropping that one for all you to listen on your favorite favorite podcast app of choice. When my brain just literally stopped then. We do have a big chat It was just me and Braden this week, and we have a big long chat about the V8s and our experiences with that. We talk about some of the stuff that's been happening in the news this week with races. Talk about Scotty McLaughlin's huge win in IndyCar for the start of the season over there, and much more. Yes, that's it. Go Penske. You basically, Carl made Penske. Don't worry about that. We all know that. But look, I will jump off and check how this hailstorm's going. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Carl, for being an absolute legend, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.